One of the things I often hear people say, my fellow trainers, for example, is they say, well, I look for the wisdom in the common. I think there's some saying about that. The brilliance is to be able to find the wisdom in the common or something like that. And although I appreciate that concept, so basically there's a lot of confusion, but let me see what everybody's talking about is the same. And one of the examples that comes up is, well, you know, everybody seems to be, all these big organizations and smart people seem to be talking about, you know, posture as it relates to pain. So there's got to be something to it, because otherwise all these smart people wouldn't be talking about it. There's a big problem with that, and this comes up now because of the research, and, you know, pain is more in the brain and all of that kind of stuff. No, I'm not saying that pain has nothing to do with biomechanics. Sure, injury can cause pain, so don't straw man that. All I'm saying is that there's more to it than just the posture structure biomechanical model, which says, you know, if you have this posture, you're going to have back pain, that kind of thing. We know that that's not true based on good evidence over the last 30 years or so. That's undeniable, unless you are an evidence denier. So they go, well, there's got to be something to it, even with regard to what the evidence says, because all these organizations talk about it and all these smart people say it. The problem with that assumption is that it assumes that if just because something is popular or commonly utilized means it is therefore true, right? We could talk about the fallacies, argument from popularity, all that kind of stuff. But that is a false way of looking at it. What that means is that idea, that premise that, you know, a certain posture means a certain type of pain or whatever, does not mean it's true. It just, the fact that a lot of people use something does not mean it's true. It means it must replicate. Not that it must be true, that it must replicate. This is something I learned from Matt Thornton. Talks about this in martial arts. He says, you know, a lot of people, well, it's been around for thousands of years, therefore it must be true. No, therefore it must replicate. It must be something that sounds reasonable to the human brain. You see? So don't look at any sort of premise that seems to disagree with the weight of the evidence and go, well, a lot of people have replicated it, therefore it must be true. No, it just means therefore it must replicate. It has no bearing on whether a premise is true or not. What makes a premise true is what the evidence says for that premise.